Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day. Week 7 of Tides of War Chapter 2 has officially started, and this week we get our hands on a new scout weapon, the ROSS MK3, a bolt action rifle manufactured in Canada between 1903 until 1918. During that time, 3 iterations were produced to correct the faults and defects of the previous models, and that's how we ended up with the MK3, the 3rd iteration of the ROSS rifle. It was used on the front lines during World War I, but later withdrawn as they were unsuitable for the conditions of trench warfare, mainly due to its length and sensitivity to poor ammunition. The ROSS has a 5-round magazine and fires at 64 rounds per minute. The rate of fire can be upgraded further through the specialization tree, which I will cover later in the video. It has the option of a 2x aperture sight, a 3x scope and a 6x scope. The magnifications are no different to any other bolt action rifle in the game, but the scope design is only shared by the MKIII. If you're wondering what the stats are, the ROSS inflicts a maximum damage of 60 up to 20 meters and drops off to a minimum damage of 55 from 60 meters onwards. So in terms of bullets needed to finish your opponent, it's quite simple. You'll need to land 2 body shots or 1 headshot no matter the distance, and that goes for every other sniper in the assault class. These damage stats are identical to the Lee Enfield, but is bested by the KAR-98 and the M95, who both inflict more damage per shot, the M95 being the best if you were to base it purely on damage output per meter. The MK3 has a horizontal recoil of 0.1, which is the same as all other sniper rifles, and has an initial vertical recoil of 2.5. That gives it the lowest recoil in the entire scout class, joined by the Enfield and the MKIII. This makes it really easy to land follow-up shots on target, as your crosshair will return to the center much faster. If you do decide to snipe with iron sights, then the straight pull mechanism will allow you to land shots back to back without even having to scope back out. By far the biggest strength of the ROSS, and it's a shame that having a scope removes such a unique feature. The MK3 has the 2nd fastest reload time when empty and with bullets remaining. With iron sights, the ROSS uses a stripper clip, but it maintains its place once you compare it to other snipers that all use a stripper clip. The quick reload speed reduces the downtime in between reloads and will allow you to keep sustained pressure on your opponent, preventing them from recovering back to full health. The ROSS has a bullet velocity of 600, which is identical to the M95 and 100 less than the MKIII and the KAR-98. So you will need to lead your shots a bit more on running targets, but as long as you avoid extreme long ranges, it won't really impact your performance much at all. So in terms of raw TTK, how good is the ROSS compared to the other snipers? In the perfect environment where your opponent has full health and you only land body shots, the TTK is almost completely dependent on the rate of fire, since all sniper rifles need to land 2 body shots. So the higher the rate of fire, the better, and in this case that will still be the upgraded Enfield. So if you struggle to land headshots at a consistent rate, then the Enfield is the best option. However, if you mostly tend to use a sidearm to follow up, then the M95 will be the better option, as it inflicts the most damage and requires the least pistol shots to follow up with. When it comes to headshots, all sniper rifles have the same TTK, and that's when the ROSS starts to shine. It's ideal for those who have a great headshot ratio, as it's much more precise than most of its counterparts. Over distance, the velocity does start to influence the TTK, but that's only once you're past 200 meters. Then the MKIII and the KAR-98 are most suitable for the job. So let's dive into these specializations. What are the best combinations and what scope should you be using? I normally use a 3x scope when I'm playing on a medium sized map, and a 6x scope on one of the larger maps. So just adapt to the environment around you, and do keep in mind that the 6x scope has the brightest scope glint. For my first pick, I've opted to go for quick aim over quick reload for 2 reasons. 1, the 6x scope has the longest ADS delay in the game, so in my opinion it's a must have specialization, as it allows you to acquire your targets as quickly as possible. The only exception would be if you were exclusively sniping from long range and avoided all other ranges of combat. The second reason is that the MK3 has a really small magazine, so reducing the reload time further isn't going to significantly improve the sniper's efficiency. For my second pick, I've opted to go for slings and swivels. This will give you the best fighting chance in close quarters as there will be less delays in your actions, so hip firing and pulling out your pistol becomes a bit more viable. On the other side, custom stock reduces the spread while moving, but as bolt action rifles don't accumulate much spread while moving anyways, I don't see a strong enough reason to pick it. For my third pick, I've opted to go for faster cycling of the bolt, which increases the rate of fire up to 85 rounds per minute. This allows you to pick off several opponents in quick succession and allows you to compete in a fast TTK environment. And for my last pick, I've opted to go for variable zeroing over bayonet. To be honest, I won't use it much or at all because it doesn't suit the playstyle of the ROSS, but I believe the bayonet adds a delay after sprinting like it did in Battlefield 1. Overall, the ROSS MK3 is best suited for an aggressive playstyle, but it doesn't do it any better than the Lee Enfield. The biggest weakness is its magazine size and only offers half the capacity of the Enfield. So is it really worth picking the ROSS over the Enfield for a bit more range? I still think it is. Even though the Enfield has a larger magazine, fires faster and has the same damage output, the slow reload speed and the inferior scope design is not something that I can put up with or enjoy using. Will I pick the ROSS over the M95? I don't think so. Being able to inflict higher damage per shot is really useful if you take attrition into account. I'm more likely to finish off an opponent with one shot, and that's really important when you only have 5 rounds in the magazine. Let me know what you think of the new scout weapon down below, leave a rating and I'll see you later. Take care.